Hello again. This is my fifth attempt at trying to do this video now, so for multiple reasons it keeps failing, but anyway, let's crack on. I'm going to be doing talking about CAFCASS and ICFA. CAFCASS, they act as the children's voice in court, in the same way that you may have your own legal representation and the other side may do, and they can speak on your behalf in court. CAFCASS do the same for the kids, although as the parents of the children and the children themselves, you do interact with CAFCASS and you speak to them. They discuss things with the kids, and then they discuss things with you and with the other parent, and then they compile reports and give recommendations and advice to court with the findings, and they do multiple of those reports. And ICFA do a similar thing, but they work for the court themselves as opposed to being the voice of the children. So they give their own findings to the court, and you do a similar thing with them, whereas you interact with them, speak to them, they ask you questions, spend time with the kids, they watch you spending time with your kids, etc, etc. And the judge makes a decision based really upon what they say, which I think gives credence to really what I've said before about in another video, where I feel that really the family court shouldn't really exist apart from the most extreme cases where children have been getting extremely poorly treated, in which case it should become really more of a specialised criminal court which specialises in children and family matters, because a lot of the stuff that goes into there, say the parents aren't agreeing and I'm sorry about this, I've got the sun coming through the window at the front. My head's moving around and I'm trying to avoid getting sun in my eyes. But yeah, so if say one parent is stopping another parent for not seeing the children for no really good reason, I think I've said this before, but I think that should be viewed as a form of child abuse, and a separate crime of weaponising the children as should be seen as a form of domestic abuse as well, or domestic coercion. I think it's absolutely abhorrent form of emotional trauma for everybody who's in it, really, apart from the person who's giving it and utilising that. Now I do understand if obviously there's serious abuse happening to the children, say, whether it's inappropriate under the clothing type activity, or if it's physical violence of an extreme sense, but if it's just simply a case of, say, I don't like the fact that the other parent is, say, smacking the kids' bums as a form of discipline, I don't really think that's a good enough excuse, and in England at least it's perfectly legal. Even if you don't like it, at the end of the day it's legal. You know, there's lots of things people do that I don't like, but they're allowed to do it, you know, but I wouldn't want to stop them doing those things just because I don't like them. If it's legal, it's none of my business. And I do think a lot of these more minor issues could be dealt with out of court without having to go to court, and based really just on interacting with CAFCASS and maybe ICFA alone, you know, and maybe if it's a really, really bad case, they could then get recommended to go to court after that. I think that would solve a lot of problems, and also keep the costs down, I think, for a lot of people as well. Now, when interacting with CAFCASS and ICFA, and obviously I'm not a legal professional or a professional advisor here, so this is just my opinions, not qualified at all in any way, but I would say be completely honest and open with them. They're not there to catch you out, from my experience, and they genuinely do want what's best for the kids. And I've got to say that for everybody, including the judges as well. Although I may not like the system, I do feel that they do take their jobs professionally and seriously, and they do want what's best for the kids. But I do feel that the system itself massively constrains what they can do and pushes them down certain opinions, because I think they have to, with the way things like legal precedents are set. And my understanding is it's not a system that's been designed how it is. It's like building a house one brick at a time, but with absolutely no plan, and it's a different person every time coming down putting a brick down, so you're just going to end up with a sort of hodgepodge higgledy-piggledy building afterwards, which kind of stands up and everybody can kind of use, but it doesn't really achieve anything that anybody wants. And I think that's the problem with the family court system, is it's just this absolute bonfire of precedences and independent laws which make sense on their own but don't interact properly, and all these other stories. It's just a mess. Basically, it's just an absolute mess. And again, it's another reason why it should be got rid of, simply because it's becoming unworkable. But yeah, but back to interacting with CAFCASS and ICFA, I would definitely advise being completely honest with them. Even if you say, for example, I'll just make up an easy to understand example. If the other side has accused you of, say, shouting at the kids, just go, yeah, I do shout at the kids, because I have to sometimes, in the same way that a teacher has to shout at the kids. You know, it's obviously I don't enjoy doing it, I don't like doing it, but you have to shout at your kids sometimes. You know, or if your other partner, for example, I don't know, is accusing you of arguing in front of the kids, let's say, or losing your temper in front of the kids when you're talking to them, just again be honest and go, yeah, absolutely, I do. But don't just finish there. You've follow it up with things like, but I'm only a human being, and unfortunately it does take two people to tango in those circumstances. You know, the other person has engaged me in a manner which is combative, and okay, I shouldn't, in a perfect world I shouldn't respond as I do, but I am a human being, and unfortunately we've got that much negative opinions between us and previous history that unfortunately that is the first reaction to these circumstances, where we both just, and don't just make it about you but them as well, where we have both unfortunately got into this bad habit of winding each other up. You know, just be reasonable and fair like that. And for me personally, and those are two things I've just made up there. Those aren't things that were said about me. But you will find that they are very, very understanding, and you know, they've seen it all before, these people, and they've seen far worse, more than likely, than what you're going through. Because unfortunately, these people do have to deal with the absolute worst that society has to do to children. You know, and hats off to them for dealing with that. Because I don't think I could. I don't think I could put up with some of the things those people have to see. But yeah, I would. Obviously, everybody's circumstances is unique, and you have to measure up your own circumstances. But I would don't see them as going. Although it might feel like they're going after you, they're not going after you. They are just purely trying to do what's best for the kids. And it may be a case that, you know, for a short time period that you may not be stable enough to be around your kids, and you know what, put your hands up and admit that to them and say, look, I think I need help with this, because they are there to actually try and find out ways of getting help for you, because they want you in the children's lives, because it is absolutely undisputed that both parents in the children's lives is better for them long term. So they want you there anyway. And you've got to be willing to be humble enough and say, yeah, you know what, I do have problems here and here, and this is what I need to work on. But they will be happier with you doing that, rather than you lying about things and then finding these things out and then you having to explain it to them, because then you're an untrustworthy person. Anyway, I've gone on a bit longer than usual with this one. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for now. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.